Hello, good evening, I'm All Gibbes, and welcome to All Gibbes Live. I have a surprise for you always. In 2021, he broke the record for the most appearances of All Gibbes Live. Now it's back in 2022. I guess this MP Buncamper. How are you doing, sir?
I am good, Oral. Pleasant good evening to you and the viewers. And I'm impressed. I'm impressed with your new studio. I like the setup, to be very honest with you.
Thank you.
Compact, but very professional.
Thank you, and hopefully when we are back with the radio section, we'll be able to combine both the radio and television and have you on the program again.
Yeah, I'll happily come.
All right, thanks. I just want to let my audience know that this program tonight is made possible by the Windward Islands Bank. Windward Island Bank, the Bank of St. Martin, in 3 locations, Pittsburgh, also in Cul-de-sac, and in Cincinnati for all your mortgages, whatever your needs are. It's the Windward Islands Bank and GEBE, service in Martin for over 60 decades. GEBE, your local water and electricity company. GEBE. I'm Earl Gibbes here with MP Buncamper. MP, what's happening these days?
A lot of things are happening, Oral. I think the country is at a crossroad with certain things. I think, and I just heard you mention, for example, one of your sponsors, the electricity company NVGB, and maybe I can delve into something that I believe is very important. You just heard the minister speak about the fuel clause. They're going to review the fuel clause, and while that is all fine and well to review the fuel clause, we got to get rid of the fuel as much as we can.
Right.
And this is something that I haven't really seen happening, and I'm not seeing that push coming from any place. There's a new board at GB. Hopefully there'll be a new management team in the very near future. So maybe it's time that with the new blood we have there, that we get a better vision on alternative energy. And alternative energy doesn't necessarily have to be right now the waste to energy, even though I would have loved to see that become a reality in Samantha and get rid of the garbage, the landfill once and for all. But think of this. Let me give you an idea that has been playing between a few people that I know very well, and I'm not talking about boys that I play dominoes with, but I'm talking about some well-educated engineers that said to me, but listen to this. What about if we take the carbon credits that we have in this country,
Right.
and we sell it to the airline companies? Airline companies need carbon credits because they are having a serious issue right now with flights.
Explain that for my audience who don't understand what it means.
Okay. Carbon credits is every country has an X amount of carbon credits because of the size of the country, the inhabitants of the country, and the emissions that you put out. Right. We have very low emissions. The cruise ships that come in and the planes that come in are not part and parcel of our buildup of carbon credits. Cars are, and the utilities are. So we have a lot of carbon credits to spare as country St. Martin. Carbon credits are worth a lot of money. So if we would get the aviation industry, and I'm now talking, for example, a KLM, or in Air France, to buy our carbon credits. And we don't need the cash. What we need is that they invest in a solar system for us under GB's auspices, so that the solar system belongs to NVGB. The monies derived there will then drop significantly the cost of producing electricity, which will then be passed on to the consumer. So in other words, you're using carbon credits that at this point in time you ain't selling to anybody, and anybody who knows a little around the movement of carbon credits most probably is using some carbon credits without even knowing. But now you can put it to rest by selling it to one of these airlines, for example, and in return, instead of taking money and put it someplace that is not going to good use, you put it to good use by creating a solar farm. And that solar farm will then be owned by NVGB, so that NVGB can also be in compliance with their electricity concession. Because since 2015, NVGB should have had 2% every year of their total production being derived from alternative energy. At this point in time, they have 0%. Right. Not even 0.1, 0%. We are 12 years further. So 12 years at 2% would have been 24% of their capacity should have been alternative energy. So if you can get a solar plant up and running, paid for example, by the airline industry, I think you have something good on your hands. So while I agree to review the cost of fuel by looking how the fuel clause is built up and making adjustments where need be, let's be honest, fuel ain't going down. With a war close to breaking out in the Ukraine area where gas supplies will shut down, fuel is going to skyrocket through the roof.
It's almost $100
so we are fooling ourselves, believing that fuel will become cheaper again. We got that bad break in 2014. Oral, we were nearly at the home stretch with a waste to energy. There was a public tender done at, I think it was Synergy. Yeah, Synergy. Synergy was the one that won, and we were in the final stretch. And the fuel fell. It tumbled. There was a crisis, and fuel became dirt cheap. And GB then said, oh God, you're going to bankrupt us if we have to pay 26 cents per kilowatt hour. Today, when you add up the cost of electricity production and fuel, you're over 30 US cents. And it will only go up. They ain't going down. So again, a proposal to government. I'm not there on the floor of Parliament, but that doesn't mean I don't have access to the media. And that's why I'm so happy that in this show, I'll put it out there. And being on YouTube, more people can hear this and more people can weigh in. I'm no expert in this, but I'm not trying to be the expert. I'm just trying to put a solution, a possible solution on the table so that we can make use of our carbon credits, which we are not making use of right now, and hopefully bring some kind of tangible solution for our energy costs, because we can't afford it.
You know, there's been such a struggle over the years with government and different governments. Do you think they'll be open to this idea now?
You know, look, I think, Oral, people are tired of hearing government promise things. People are tired of hearing politicians promising things. I'm not a politician right now. I'm out of office right now, out of Parliament, while I'm fighting my court case. But it doesn't mean to say that I can't give food for thought to them. And I do believe, like I said, GB has a new, fresh board, has a new management team coming in. I think the Minister of Romy is open for discussions, is open for change. He has not been doing it the way it used to be done. Maybe not always to the liking of people, but that's a different story. I think right now we have to look at what's best for this country, what's best for St. Martin. I started the show by telling you we're at a crossroads. This is one of them. The utility costs in this country is too high. Can't afford it. When you look at internet costs in the other parts of the region, we are way out of touch with reality for the services we get versus what we pay. It's crazy. You know, and I'm saying we have to understand that if we want to diversify and if we want to bring other types of business to this country, we have to make sure that our utilities are par excellence, that we have a reliable grid. No dropouts, no nothing. People don't really need a generator. Generator would mean an emergency, like a massive hurricane, take down everything. Other than that, you don't really need it. But by us, it's the norm. Everybody got a generator. That shouldn't be, but it is. People got two, three different phones, 2-3 different chips, not from the same provider, from different providers. It tells you something. It tells you something. And these are the things that we have to look at and see, how do we deal with it? How do we fix this?
No, it's so difficult because what you mentioned is very, very important for this island to move forward. Outside this building, we have beautiful marinas, mega yachts. It looks like this island is really booming. Some people will say, we're complaining too much. Some people will say, well, look at St. Martin. It looks so great. What do you say about that?
Not everything that shines is gold. Let me start with that. You very often hear the wealth division isn't the way it should be. To that, I always answer, so what have you done to make wealth? And please don't come with the Nancy story, oh, I never get a chance. You get so many chances, you never know that you got the chance because you're never ready. You see, we have this thing of, we believe we have a right to something. Or we believe that when we put out our hand, we should get something. And then you get this beggar's mentality. You see foreigners reach here, and yes, they sometimes get breaks that others don't get. Yeah. They sometimes can go to the bank, and they can open an account in 2 weeks. And others go to the bank, and you're 6 months further, and you still don't have an account. And I heard one of the bank managers give a lot of stories and a lot of explanations. Oh no, you come in, it could be this, it could be that. And I beg to differ. I won't say more than that right now, but I beg to differ to what he said. Because we have questioned them in Parliament. We had the Bankers Association there, and every time it's a different something. Then you bring in the central bank, and then they say a different story. So there is a discrepancy, in my opinion, when you go to the bank as a local, try to get mortgages and loans for certain businesses. It's too risky, it's this, it's that. The collateral they want is astronomical that you can't make it. Now, thank God that at this point in time, there is a program going through the NRPB, and I believe there was $30-something million made available for local entrepreneurs to go there and get things done. The amount of money that is still there tells me that people are not qualifying or meeting the requirements to be able to get to this money. And then you have to ask yourself, why? What is wrong that we can't get to this money? What are we missing? What are we missing to qualify? So I'm not blaming the NRPB for this. I'm saying, what's wrong within the organization, the business organization on the island, that so many people are missing the boat on basically free money? Because oral, you get 65% is grant, 35% you're paying back at 5%, maybe 6%. But that's what the banks are asking, 6, 7, 8%. So it isn't as if they're even going as far as offering you a $20,000 loan to pay off the bank if need be, so you can reorganize and move forward. So I think the program is a great program, but unfortunately we are not making proper use of it. And the question is why? You can't blame the government or the banks for everything. Everything starts with us. And very often we are not ready for certain things. You see people come in here with brilliant ideas. And then when you ask them, well, where they get it from? Yeah, a few years ago they were here, they had a conversation with this and this. So they come back, and they're executing your opinion, your ideas, and that's a pity. We need to find some kind of way that we can do things ourselves.
You see, that's why I said earlier, because a lot of people watching this program will say, well, you know, look at them, they're complaining. You stood on the floor of Parliament many times and spoke for thousands of people who felt left out, who felt forgotten. You know, so I know your passion and I understand where you're coming from. Unfortunately, on this island, there are others who look around and they see the wealth that is there, and they feel that there's no need to complain because basically everything is okay. And it's not okay.
Yeah, you know, Oral, it's not okay. You know, sometimes people look at me and they say, but you were born with a golden spoon in your mouth. And I smiled and I laughed. I said, and that's because you don't know who I am. And people, they see the name and they associate the name to wealth. The Buncampers are land rich. Yes, the Buncampers, I inherited land from my father and my great aunt. And Richard Buncamper, a lot of people don't know this, was a black man. My great-great-grandfather was a black man. And he owns Back Bay from Point Blanche all the way to Guana Bay. The backlands are owned by the heirs of Richard Buncamper. Those are the Ratcliffes, the Eliges, the Flanders, the Van Heinekens. All of those people are broken down off of these trees. There are 5 Buncamper trees. 3 left the island, 2 are here, divided. Yeah, some of them were in Back Street, but they left to Curacao and St. Kitts and so. But most of the others went and to live in the States. So a lot of people very often don't know. The Buncamper family is a huge family. It just simply living in St. Martin. I have a lot of people that don't know. Sometimes you hear them, they say, cuz. And people say, but they're your family. And then when they go and we have a little chit chat, they realize we are family, you know? But like I said, yes, we were born normal. I was born normal, St. Rose Hospital. I didn't born with a bag of money. My mother was a school teacher. My father used to work at the airport. They worked hard to build their home and send us to school. We all got a good education. That's the one thing our parents made sure we had. And with that, we built our careers. All the 3 of us built our careers doing a few things. Doing work for the country, doing civic duties. You know, so I have learned over time that no matter what you do, no matter what you do for people, there are always those that consider themselves the have-nots and will complain about things that they haven't gotten. And I always say, any man, any woman that gets themselves well educated has all chances. Sometimes you come back here, you don't get the job you want, and government can sometimes play a very dangerous game I can remember when I came back, I was told by Claude straight in my face, you overqualified. Okay, but what does that mean now for me? That I'm not going to get a job? I was given a government job while I ran DP and my wife ran DP by William Allen. So people sometimes wonder why me and William are so close. We are not close. I have a lot of respect for William Allen because against all odds, he gave me a job in Container Village first and then in Public Works. That's how I went to government. Before that, I worked for GB. I spent 5 years in GB. Mr. Lambert gave me a break in there, and I went to work there. So, you see, I had a few mentors in life. Julius Lambert was one. In GB was Anton Saros also. In Public Works, I was groomed well under Dollison, Joseph Dollison, up until today when I see him, I call him boss man. Even though he isn't there anymore, I was taught a lot by Joseph Dollison. Mr. Dollison, I still, I address you as such. But those are the people that I look up to. Those are the people that I worked with. And the man that made it possible for me to get into government was William. Nobody else. So politically, I was in the red machine. But it was the Blue Boys that gave me a job. So you see how politics is. Right. And William gave me a job because of my professional ability, not because of my political affiliation. And for that, I am eternally grateful and respect him. And people don't understand that, and sometimes they can't comprehend that. But that's when your mind is too small.
Well, we're a small island, and we're all family in a way, and still,
That is true, I have always tried. I have always tried to keep politics by the door when I am working. I try not to get politics in the office, but it does come in. Sometimes you can't keep it out, and then you become, as government would say, you become a thorn in our side. You become a problem for us because you don't go along to get along. You don't sign off things they want you to approve. Yeah. But that's part of working in an organization, it's a normal something for me.
But I think people admire you and like you because you don't BS people.
No.
You come right out and say what you got to say,
Yes.
whether you like it or not. And I think people admire you for that.
Oral for me is very simple. I ain't fall on my mouth for sure. So I'm not afraid to say what I have to say. But I have always lived by the motto, a well-informed person will make a better decision. So if the answer is no, I'm going to tell you it's no. I don't want you to believe you might get a yes next week. No. If it is no, it is no. If it is yes, it is yes. If it is due to you, you will get it. I don't care who you are. I don't care who your mother be, your father be, or not. If it's due to you, it will come to you. That was the way I have always worked. I didn't mince no words about that, you know? And I have always believed locals should get a chance to excel. And you could have seen it when I used to be in the foundation, The Sky is the Limit. We never did international shows. We did local shows alone.
People still speak about that.
Calypsonians, Shadow Man. Could remember when he was in his prime, we had him up in Tempo. We got him signed up with Martin in Tempo to do his thing. We believed in sports, we believed in art. So we pumped money into that. Every donation we got, we put it in there. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands that we have invested in these art forms over the years. And the reason we did it, because if we don't take care of our own, who do you expect to do it?
Yeah.
And you know, when you look at a budget today, you can only scratch your head. People say, yeah, but how come we can't get major leaguers? But we don't put money into sports. 0.9% or 1% of the ECYS budget is sports.
Right.
1% is culture. And then you wonder why you can't get it done. You're not paying, you don't put no money there. And I understand we got a tight budget, but the social development of a person with sports and culture is extremely important. And if you don't do that, then you better create a bigger mental health facility.
I want to go now to politics again. Coho, how you feel about it? It's now law.
No, it's not law.
Well, it's now law because they're going to go along. They have no choice.
That's a different story. Aral, look, I listened to various people speak on Coho. I can say this much. Up until today, the government of St. Martin has agreed in principle with Coho, under the condition that a few things have to be worked out in detail yet. Right. But the law went to the second chamber, or is being sent to the second chamber. But the parliaments of Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin have not approved the Coho law, unless they approved it since I left on the 23rd of December, which I don't think happened. At this point in time, the Parliament of St. Martin told the State Secretary Knops, I believe the then chairman, Mr. MP Bryson, sent a letter that they will work along, with the exploitation or the making of Coho. But they did not agree to Coho because we didn't know what Coho was. Coho was just a talk. Coho wasn't a document that Parliament had in its hand, went through it and said, let's discuss this, let's discuss that. So, but remember this, the country packages, because this is where the catch is, this is where the hook is. The country packages were approved by Parliament also. The country packages are going to be implemented through the Coho. While the Coho is being prepared, the TWO is already like the precursor to Coho, is busy with implementations of the country packages. So did you agree or did you not agree? Because you are busy implementing the country packages, which is to be supervised and managed for the next 6 years by the Coho. And the catch in all of this is St. Martin is paying for these reforms themselves from their budget. So budget 2022 that was approved, but in there you'll notice a lot of money is allocated to country packages. You can't say, well, I ain't doing the country package for education this year. I'm going to do that next year. I'm going to build some roads this year. No, it doesn't work so.
But you see why I said what I said? And I will bet you $1 that it's going to go.
I think a lot of parliamentarians that screamed about the coho are going to have to take a hard look in the mirror now. Because at the end of the day, it is the country or the autonomy. Both can't fly. What do I mean with this? The State Secretary Van Huffelen stated clearly that she wants to deal with the countries on an equality basis. So the words of the Charter are going to come to life because we're going to be treated equal in our discussions and how we move forward. That's one thing. The other thing is she says, but listen, this dispute regulation can't work because the laws don't allow a dispute regulation to work that is binding and the Dutch can't say nothing. When she started with that discussion, I said, something going someplace. Then suddenly you hear, deficit approved, no conditions attached. Okay, wonderful. Just the opposite to Knopf's. Because what was Knopf's condition? You must approve the coho. And what do we get 2 days later? All 4 governments agreed to coho. So it wasn't a condition, but we suddenly 2 days later agreed to it.
But then it's basically going to be law once parliaments... And
the governments agreed to it, not the parliaments.
I know.
But there is a catch with it because you approve the budget, which approves the country packages, and the country packages can only be managed through the coho. And you agreed to that. You agreed with the country packages.
You know, I'm looking at history, and I'm looking at past performance, especially this government. And that's why I say, I'll bet $1 that it's a done deal.
It's a fait accompli.
It will be law.
I believe, Oral, that it will pass. I believe that, yes. I hope that at least the country ensures that in the details, the necessary protections are taken up for the country. Remember the 3 laws of the 12.5%? I had begged the government, please put a termination date on it. Put a review date. After a year, you're going to review it. And you can then decide, we're going to terminate it, yes or no. We didn't do those things. We just left it wide open. Aruba went to the State Secretary and said, listen, we want to come to termination 6 months, so now we'll take off 6%. End of the year, we take off another 6%. They said, no, we didn't agree to that. We're going to discuss it, but we didn't agree to that yet. So Aruba is trying to get rid of that 12.5% because it's destroying. You got to remember something. You cut in salaries or benefits, whatever you want to call it. You are cutting power, buying power. Because if I had gasoline money, or if I had a cat at my disposal, or if I had vacation allowance, that money I don't have no more, I'm going to have to supplement it with the other money I have. So at all times, I am losing 12.5% in buying power. You take it out of my pension, that would be the greatest inhumane thing to do, because then you're punishing me for the rest of my life by taking it out of there. But I am saying we have reached the stage to review. Are we ready to roll back the 12.5%? I don't think so. I think another 6 months to a year, let's evaluate, but I do believe that the country's economy is picking up. I do see aircrafts coming in. And there are a lot of things that go hand in hand with this economy of ours that, yes, all the mega yachts are there, and yes, a lot of airplanes are landing, and then the question is, so how much money is staying in the country? Because that's important. How much money is staying in the country? Because a country like Aruba that has 20 name brand hotels is screaming for money every day. Because with all those tourists that stay in those hotels, where do you think that money going? To its owners. It doesn't stay in the country.
Yeah. You know something, 86.23 million guilders over 18 months was paid out of salaries in St. Martin. And some companies, not many, but some companies abused it.
Mm-hmm.
And how you feel about that? Because this is a lot of money over 18 months.
Let me put it this with you, Harold. There were rules set for the support, the payroll support. There were rules set. And if companies broke those rules, it means when the audits are done, and I think the BBO is doing those audits right now for the government, and SFV, they did the payroll support program. They are now showing their books and everything, or showing the payments, and everything is then being verified. And eventually, they're going to look for some faults, and there are faults. A lot of people thought it was the big companies. What I understood, it was not the big companies.
Small companies.
It's the small. Yeah. It's the small man that pulled these stunts. Yeah. Basically, they're gonna pay it back, Carl. They're gonna have to pay it back eventually, and this is where people can get hurt. Because look, if you're talking about $1 million or $2 million, okay, but if you start talking about 10 million guilders, it might not sound like a lot, but for this little island, it is a lot. I mean, in Holland, make no mistake, Holland did the same thing. Holland were perforated. They were ripped off from right to left. Businesses bore their eyes. And yes, when you do the checks and balances, you're going to find out who did what. But very often, if those companies ain't here anymore, what then? You know, some companies have closed their doors, and they were never locally owned or locally managed. So the debt to all those people just stays. And if payroll support was one of those things, then it's gone. Because it stopped since last year, September. I know they're still paying people up until today. People are getting payroll support from April last year, May last year, June last year. I mean, with all due respect, we can't be serious. You can't expect a business to have paid those things and survive for 7-8 months. But it seems to be the norm. And these are the unfortunate things.
Well, you know, it's really unfortunate because when you look at the island today, and the recovery is there, it's looking great, but a lot of people that I speak with, our own people, they feel left out.
Yes. Again, or like I said, the problem is, if you look at the big constructions that we had, and I think the two biggest constructions right now are the airport and the hospital. Sure, some locals get work there, but I don't think the bulk of the work is here. There are a lot of things have to be bought too. So, you know, I don't want to go there. I see cement trucks driving every day. I mean, people are working, people are building. The concrete companies, those are local people. Very often when somebody says, I feel left out, the question is left out of what exactly? Because government didn't start new businesses to compete against you. So if you feel left out, what exactly do you feel left out of? Because yes, there was one group of people that are going to be left out, and that's the gray economy. That's the economy that was never registered. That's the economy that showed its face finally after Irma.
It's huge.
It's a huge economy. This country has lost millions, if not billions, over the years on a gray economy, where nobody pays taxes, and half of them might be fully insured by SNV.
You think they're the same people that are complaining too?
Quite possible. Quite possible.
Yeah.
But you see, Oral, while there's a humanitarian factor to everything, there is also a factor of the reality. Right. What can this country afford to do? You know, people get on bad with the Minister of Justice because she raiding. But should she not raid? Should we have 10, 20,000 illegal people on this island killing the system and we can't do nothing? I think that's not fair either. That's why kudos to the Minister of Justice. Do your job. I fully support her. I did it before when I was in Parliament, and I'll do it now publicly. I believe she's doing her job. I know they have a lot of controls going on now on the strip. I know last week Friday I saw police. I thought it was an accident. Then I realized they were checking establishments. Nothing wrong with it, because at the end of the day, you have to register. Today I was sitting by my daughter, and the inspectors came. They wanted to see if we were registered, if my daughter's company was registered by Chamber of Commerce, SAV, and other things. And she showed all the documents within 5 minutes. Good morning, sir. They came, they checked everything. Thank you very much, and they left. But once you comply with the law, there isn't going to be an issue. But a lot of people are not complying. A lot of people are not paying for their business licenses, not paying for the Chamber of Commerce, and then they want to get on when they're checked.
Yeah. Well, there was MP, we have to go to a break, and we'll be right back right here on Oral Gibbes Live. Please stay with us. Live here from World Star Studio. I'm saying World Star Studio, but PNB Studios, and it's good to be here. So we have to. I'm just checking my audio, make sure everything is okay there. So MP, earlier today I had the leader of the USP party, a party you was a member of, and also asked about independence, because that's quite an issue on the island too. And how you feel about independence? Because at one time you was a member of that party.
Yeah, I was a member. I excused myself, or let me put it this way, I separated from the party because independence was the new platform, a platform that I felt I couldn't entertain at this point in time because we're not ready for it. And after that, it became a whole debate on the radio about independence has always been the USP's platform, and I didn't get into a debate about that. I think it was good for the USP. And remember, I had a court case also, oral. I think it would have been best also if I would vacate the deputy leadership and let fresh faces take over so that at least the party stands a fair chance in any election that would come, that they're not referred to as, the gangster party or whatever. No. I decided it was an opportunity to part ways amicably. I still have no issue with none of the members of the USB. In my opinion, I separated amicably. I speak to them, I speak to all of them. But yeah, the independence was the reason that I left.
Okay. But it seems that it's not really an issue anymore. It's not really a party platform issue, I understand.
That is something they're going to have to explain to the people themselves. When I said I can't support the independence platform, that was also the reason I left. If today the independence platform is not there anymore, then maybe they are telling me something.
Yeah. Well, I think they can watch. It's on YouTube. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
We did it just a few hours before this.
Oh, okay.
That streaming,
All
so
right.
they can go back and look and see what the leader said there, because I think it's so important for people to understand.
Well,
Everyone might know that I'm pro-independence.
yeah.
However, I'm realistic too, and I know at this time it's not possible.
Look, Oral, I told people in the past, I was not born independent, but I have been made to strive for independence. But independence comes at a price, and independence comes with a preparation trajectory. We love to compare ourselves too often to islands in the Caribbean without truly looking at what they went through. I notice here in Samaritan, a lot of people refer to Barbados and Mia Motley. But for God's sakes, Barbados has been 50 years busy to where they are today. That didn't happen overnight. I mean, we got to be honest. When you look at St. Kitts, when you look at Dominica, these countries didn't become independent overnight. They built their country to become independent. We never did that. We were not even ready for 10-10-10, for God's sakes. We didn't have 3/4 of the things that we needed. We created service level agreements with all kind of different entities because we didn't have a building here. We didn't have people here. Look at our civil aviation. When the people died in the earthquake in Haiti, we became Category 2.
Yeah.
We had nobody here. We still don't have nobody here.
But why after 12 years?
Because we don't plan. We don't understand the business. And that's why when I spoke at my show on Monday, I referred to someone like Mr. Van Heinigen, Duncan Van Heinigen. Don't agree with everything he said, but I respected him for his position and for his experience in the aviation. I'm not an aviation expert. My brother knows a lot more in aviation than I do. So I would always ask him, give me a little thought on how you see this or how you see that. But when you read these articles in the newspaper, that the Minister of TIAT, Winier, and Civil Aviation want to go for FAA, Category 1, and we should have a passenger fee increase at the airport to pay for the Civil Aviation Authority because the cost is very high, because those people, you don't pick them up by Grand Marché or Carrefour. These are specialized people. The world doesn't have enough of them right now. So the price to get somebody from the civil aviation that is certified and can do all these air safety, etc., costs a lot of money. And if you think you can give him 8,000 guilders, he ain't coming here. Start talking 18, 20,000 guilders. Then you can get these people here. But if you can't pay that kind of money because your budget can't handle it, then you have a problem, because where is civil aviation? It's under a Secretary General. It's under a ministry. It should be an independent agency. That's what the civil aviation should be.
Free from political influence too.
Thank you. It would be like you taking the ombudsman and putting it under the prime minister. Or you take the integrity chamber and put it under the justice minister. You can't. These entities have a certain, how would I say, independence that you shouldn't be maneuvering. And yes, if you create that fee, then create that fee that the structure of how the money flows from the IATA bank accounts to the Civil Aviation Authority bank accounts, and at least they can hire professionals, you stand the chance to get a Category 1. But if we think we're going to just walk out a little fee fast and do something, that ain't gonna work. I told them this before, and I stand by that.
Now, how do you feel about the progress at the airport? Because it's going on 5 years, and now I'm hearing all kinds of stories, and it seems like they're building a whole new airport with the cost that it's being mentioned now.
I'll tell you this much. I believe personally that this whole airport is a hoax. That's my personal belief. I cannot understand that we're going to spend $150 million to rebuild a building that's still standing. You change the roof, you have some interiors to do, but you didn't have to fix the runway, you didn't have to fix the apron, you got to put back 4 jet bridges, and you got to do some restructuring inside.
4? I thought they were going to put more.
Well, 4 right now. There's 4 there. They ain't build nothing extra to put on more. So I don't see that happening just like that. But Oral, it was built for $80 million 15 years ago. Now you're rebuilding it for $150 million. And now suddenly, it went from 130 to 150 overnight. With a press release, $20 million was given in December by the steering committee, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, but wait a minute. We had no more money, according to me. The Prime Minister said money done. So where did that $20 million come from? Where did you take it from to put it by the airport? Because already you know which one is next? The hospital. Mark my words, the next 2 months, the hospital is going to be the discussion in St. Martin that they need more money because things get expensive, the shipping and the this and the that and the that. Wait. This is becoming a joke right now. Now, I don't like to call out people, but the airport specifically. Remember we were talking about good corporate governance and this and that and that. When you look at what's happening there, you have to ask yourself the question, are we truly serious? Because the only reason the airport went the way it went is because the former State Secretary Knupp stepped in. He said, and if this and this and this didn't happen, you get the money. And the government did what they had to do. They start moving people, etc., etc. Today, big groundbreaking ceremonies, all kind of things. But again, just one schedule of when can we expect certain things? And I'm not going to knock them and say, oh, they're not doing anything. I'm not going to do that because I don't know that. But it is clear to me that there is too much of talk, nice talk. I'm not interested if Bala Stadium put up their offices or not. What I'm interested in is how much work is being done right now. Can we see the work? Why don't we have right now already the baggage system coming in? But why can't it come in? What's the issue? It's a big open space under there. Start bringing that back. Right now, you go down there on Saturday when there are 5 to 7 aircrafts on the ground. It's crazy. You can't get your luggage. They're pulling luggage all over the place. And the guys have to do with what there is. You can't blame the people working there because it's not them. It's the organization that is not providing, in my opinion, enough for the situation we are in today. We are not there where we had 1 plane a day. We are here now in a situation when we can have 5 to 10 aircrafts on the ground simultaneously. And we cannot provide for them correctly. And that will only give you a bad name as a country.
When you look around, what you think is so good about St. Martin?
Sorry. Harold, St. Martin, is a magnet for the world. We seem to be the opposite poles, as if we just push off Samaritan. Oh, Samaritan ain't good. Oh, Samaritan ain't this. Oh, Samaritan ain't that. But every brother and sister that wasn't from here is magnetized to here and makes here a living. Read TripAdvisors, read anything. Samaritan is the greatest place to be. Oh my God, what a country, what a place, what a this. You can have potholes all week. People still talk good about your country. We, on the other hand, instead of building our country, we break our people. We have pleasure when people are locked up or when people go through bad times. We rejoice.
Yeah.
We are the biggest set of hypocrites that I have seen in one place.
Right.
I haven't seen it any place else in the Caribbean. You know, they always like to say, oh, all these crabs in a bucket. No, we special. That's why the only in St. Martin slogan fits picture perfect with some things we do here. It is not normal. The way we tear down our own, and then the next day we in church sitting down praying. I don't know how to deal with that other than just smile with you and let you believe that I agree with you, because those type of people, you don't know what to do with them.
Well, I'll tell you, welcome to the real world, because when that's happening, you know that you're doing something right.
Oral, you know, I was brought up by my mother. Not because somebody doesn't like you means you don't help them, means you don't forgive them. I forgive people when they do me bad. I don't forget what you did to me, but I do forgive. I try to live my life as good as I can, where I can always take care of my family, first of all, and help those around me when I can. That has been always something, and that's why I'm in the Lions Club. You know, I have sat on the board of the Scouts for over 25 years. I've been in the No Kidding with Our Kids Foundation. Listen, I think I sat in 20 foundations to help out, you know, over the years. I love Carnival. I used to help there too, you know. But at the end of the day, we need to agree with each other that country above self. You don't need to destroy somebody else to make it. If that's the only way you're going to make it, then you have the wrong formula. And this is something that we have to learn in politics. That we don't have to go on the floor of Parliament and keep screaming who's a thief and who's this and who's that. If you feel so strong about that this person is this person is that, then go to the prosecutor's office, take your proof, and hand it in there, instead of sitting down like a sissy screaming on the floor of Parliament because you got immunity there. That's what cowards do. That's what a coward does. Just hand it in, and we will see where the chips fall. But we need to stop destroying our own people. And this is not about me, Oral. This is about what I see happening in the business in the business world. We shoot down our own. We prefer to eat by a different man restaurant than eat by the local man because he can get a discount. Are you serious?
It goes more than that to it.
But no, I'm just showing you the small thing.
Yeah.
Certain people will not eat by a local restaurant because they don't like what a fella did him. Again, you're supporting his family too, his staff, his employees. If the man food good or the lady's food is good, eat it. I don't care who'd fire. If I come by your restaurant, there are two things I am looking for. A pleasant atmosphere with good service and a nice plate of food. That's what I'm there for. I didn't come for chit chat. I could do that in the parking lot with you. I came to your place because I want to spend my money. Right. That means I hope I get a nice plate of food, some good drinks, and some wonderful atmosphere with service.
You know, all the things you mentioned, I understand it because I've gone through that for over 30 years of my life on this island. And I think government is responsible. I don't like the cities, but it starts with our government. And the reason why I say it starts with our government and ends with the general population, because I have seen, tonight we're sitting here in this room. It took me over 20 years to get a broadcasting license with all my qualifications. And still, all the radio station equipment in that room over there is sitting there, and they can't go in the air because some evil forces are at work still. Okay, some evil forces. So it tells you something. I have tens of thousands of dollars sitting there that I can't use.
You know, Oral, you said the government is at fault for what we have, and then the general population. Let me turn it around. The general population is at fault for what we have because they're the ones that put the governments there.
That's true.
The governments don't put themselves there. And I always tell people this. Oh, they're buying this, they're buying the government. No. They could buy 2, 3 seats, but there are 15 seats there. So what happened to the other 12? Sure, politicians have bought votes. Everybody knows that. We had cases about it. But again, we didn't have 15 politicians being prosecuted the same election. You had 1. So what happened to the other 14 seats? I mean, we gotta stop this nonsense about, oh, they buy the government. No, oh, it's political McCoy. Oh, utter nonsense. Because if 3 parliamentarians are in the pocket of somebody, what happened to the other 12? But we like to vote party lines. We don't vote what's best for the country. We vote what the party tells me I have to vote. That's why I was a fella, I always said, I am not government, I'm not opposition, I'm Team St. Martin. If it's good for the country, I support it. And if it ain't good, I'm going to tell you no, but I'm going to come with a solution for you. Because I believe at the end of the day, the country comes first. Oral, I know time is pressing, but I am very concerned what's happening to the seniors.
Oh, yeah.
In the sense that we got to be able to make a difference for seniors today. I can remember I spoke to the Minister of Finance and I said, boy, Minister, I really need you to try your best, and I'm going to make this plea tonight again, that we look at the pension premium that we all pay who are in the pension fund, and we can deduct this from our income tax. If you look at how much people are in the fund and how much money is being paid every year into that fund, you know that it's 18%, 8% belongs to the employers. To the employee, 8%. So if we are paying 30 million, then you know 8% of that 30 million, 8% of the 18% reflects 30 million, because that's what pension premium is, 18%, of which nearly 50% comes from the employee. So let's say 13 million. Of that 30 million is premium. And that premium, people are allowed to deduct it from their income tax. And how much do we get on taxes from the seniors? About 2 to 3 million a year.
So I can deduct that.
Thank you. And you're making a little profit as government. And then we don't have the issue anymore of when those people reach pension age that they didn't pay. No, they didn't collect it from their taxes. So for God's sakes, leave those people go free from taxation. Now they're telling you, oh, this can't happen, and I'm saying, but that is strange, because when we needed to fix laws and cut salaries, overnight. Here we need to help the seniors, and we find 100 excuses not to do it. And this is not the minister, this is the ministry. We need to learn that the minister can only do so much. It is the ministry, is the machinery that makes the minister. And I'm saying we need to come together and work for the country. It's not about, oh, this is a good political something. There are no elections coming. What I'm saying now is not about an election. It's about seniors that are having it very difficult to make ends meet right now. Cost of living is going up. Prices are going up. Fuel is going up. So Gibbes is going up. I mean, for God's sakes, the pension ain't going up. Yet you're taxing it. And that's the little break that we need to now find for these people. Because you know how many adults are depending on their daddy and mommy's pension to make ends meet because they ain't got a job?
Really?
Okay. There are a lot of people out there that go back by mama and papa and looking for help because they ain't got it. They feel left out.
But we're streaming. If you want to continue for another 10 minutes, we can.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let me just mention that this program is made possible by the Windward Island Bank in 3 locations: Phillipsburg, Cul-de-sac, and Simpson Bay. The Windward Island Bank, your bank for all your banking needs, and GEBE, local water and electricity company, serving St. Martin for over 6 decades, right? That's what long. GEBE's been around a long, long time.
Been here a long time.
Right. And so, MP, I'm glad you brought up that issue, the senior citizens, because I think they're suffering so bad. These people, some of them get only 700-800 guilders. The maximum is what, 11 plus?
12, 24. But again, that's a different story. But since we have a few minutes, I think people need to understand something. AOV is not a pension. It isn't a fixed amount. It's a maximum amount of 1,224 guilders, I believe it is right now. You have to have been in St. Martin for 50 years, and you will get AOV. So if you came here at the age of 10, you registered with the census at 65, that's when it kicks in, you are here for 55 years.
Even if it doesn't work?
Not a stroke. Not a stroke you have to do. But it gets worse.
Just be registered.
Just be registered. But it gets worse. At 65, you leave. And now you go back to your country. Guess where your money going?
To your country.
That's right. Yeah. This money is gone. This is money that you didn't necessarily pay into or pay for. So this is the problem with this AOV. Het is een algemene ouderdom. It's a voorziening. It's a provision that was created from the days of the Netherlands Antilles because the governments never took care of people's pension. The government of St. Martin in 1998 made pension mandatory. So before that, people used to work for government but had no pension. Some of them that were a little smart made sure that they got into the fund. But a lot of them did not. And I know people that went on pension and got a few hundred guilders, working 40 years. But they never signed up into the fund. So
because it was a mandatory.
It was exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, this is one of the things when I used to be in the unions, I was so adamant about it. Make sure you are in a pension fund. But people say, I want my money. No, I don't want no pension fund. Today, all them begging government for a handout because they have nothing. And this is the problem, Oral. These are the things that you can't go back in time and fix it. But you have to make provisions now to help them. And the AOV is not the solution. We got to figure out a way that we can do this correctly. And again, like I say, Rome wasn't built overnight, and St. Martin is not going to be problemless by next week. We got a long way ahead of us, but I want to close by stating you don't have to destroy your neighbor to build yours. Build yours with your hard work and sweat. And if we all help each other, if we all stop envying what others have, if we all decide we all have a fair chance, we just have to make sure we use the chance. Right. Get educated. Get educated. We have so many young people that just drop out of school, and there isn't much else than crime to resort to for these guys because they have no skills. The skill set is very difficult sometimes to get a job nowadays. And with all the illegals that we have here, they work for a lower pay. And that then puts us, and that's that gray economy that we speak about. They put a serious burden on all the other people that are looking for a fair wage to make a living in this country. I think we have some serious work ahead of us. And yeah, as a country, we got to really step up to the plate now.
Well, MP Buncamper, I want to thank you for coming. Wish you much success. Hope to have you back sometime soon. All right?
Thank you very much, Arl. It was a pleasure for me being here. Before I close, I want to say congratulations to you, your wife, with your daughter, Crystal. I noticed she will be representing the country legally at the Global, Miss Global.
Yeah.
I think it's a great something to see one of our own going to such a prestigious pageant. So congratulations to you and the family.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. All right? Thanks again. And that's it for now. See you next time. Till then, good night. Take care. Bye.